Hello everyone, my name is Jen and welcome to the Book Refuge and welcome to my most anticipated upcoming releases for the second half of 2022. That was a mouthful and I only make this video twice a year just because I usually forget to make it more than that. And also because I read a lot of indie romances, it's just hard to predict which books are coming next because a lot of authors don't always announce them that early, and a lot of times their release dates change, either coming forward or pushing back. We just don't know. But I am very excited for a lot of these. I think I have almost 30 of these to share with you from July to December, the ones that I know. Most heavily, this is like July, August, September, but I'm just going to list these. I'm probably not going to put the date that they're coming, but I'm just going to kind of list them in order of when they're coming. I know, it's a bit lazy of a way to do it, but what I do, people ask me how I know which books are coming up, so I thought I would just share that real quick, and then I'll get into this list, because I'm not going to talk too in depth about these books, because I don't know too much about some of them, and others, like, we're going to find out when they come out. But people have asked me how I stay on top of what books are going to come out. And there's three main ways that I do this. Number one, it's Instagram. I follow the authors that I love, so I start to see when they're posting teasers or what they're doing. And also, you know, my other friends being excited. I try to post in my story whenever I know of a new release date coming up. You know, I really do that. Then I use Goodreads. Particularly my Goodreads desktop app, because the mobile app I barely get by with the mobile app. I prefer to use it on my laptop because you can go to, you know, like search for books, and you can go to new releases, and then it will pull up a list that you can go month by month, and based on books that you've read and authors that you follow, it will tell you which books are coming out that month. And so that's a great way, like that's the first place I look. Then what I do is when I find those books on Goodreads, I also have an Amazon tab open, and I have a list that's a hidden list just for me where I put upcoming books. That way, if one is coming and like I've missed it somehow because maybe I don't follow that author or maybe I didn't see it advertised, I go through that list and you can tell when the book has went live on Amazon basically, right? And then also if you have it on a list, when you're like looking for Kindle books, like Amazon will keep it in the like, read this next in the series. So whenever I hear about a book that's coming, I add it to the, you know, my upcoming releases list. And then when it's out, I'll either purchase it or I've like already read it because I've read an arc, and I'll like take it off my list. So those are kind of the three ways that I find upcoming releases, being someone who loves indie. But I mean, again, there's a lot of times that authors just drop a book and you have no idea that it's coming. But yeah, I definitely appreciate the Goodreads like follow thing. Again, even though Goodreads is not always reliable, because one of the books I'm about to talk about, I wasn't following the author at all. And I only found out there was more books coming because of Goodreads. And when I was scrolling through, all of a sudden this book popped up that it was coming out in July. And I was able to go sign up for this author's ARC team, and I've actually already read the book. So I've already read one of the books that's going to be on this list. But yeah, all right. So those are the ways that I do that. And I'm going to go through this list. Some of them I'll have more to say about than others. Some of them I don't even know any info about. So we'll see. All right. Oh, just knocked a book over behind me. Also, I tried to do my list in yellow because I never use my yellow marker, but I have to hold it real close so that I can read it. So here we go. Again, these are kind of starting in July, but they're not all going to be in perfect order because I forgot some of them and had to add them in. So Zephyr by Amara Ray. That will be the fourth book in her Immortal Coven series. This one is going to finally have like the werewolf in it. Very intrigued. Tease by Melanie Harlow. This will be book 8 or not. I think it's 8 in the Cloverleaf Farms. The past 3 books have been like spin-off series about the kids and things like that. And I've just been loving those. Her small town romances always make me smile, even if they're not like perfectly for me, because sometimes she does tropes that I don't care about. This one's actually going to be a billionaire romance, which is cool. Her Beast by S.M. La Violette. This is going to be book 4 in the Victorian Decadence series. These were actually the very first books I read by Minerva Spencer. S.M. La Violette is her like original name. Like her name is Chantal La Violette, and Minerva Spencer is her like traditionally published pen name. I know I explain that every time, but it's the same person who wrote Dangerous, and these are her erotic historicals, and they are bonkers, like for reals. Like she's had FFMs in this. They have cheating. They are crazy, but I can't help myself. I love them, and I'm so excited that there's going to be 2 more books coming in this series. It's going to be great. Princess by Claire Kent. This is the one that I found out about because of Goodreads. So this is going to continue the Kindled series, which Last Light was like a standalone. And then Haven was the first book in the Kindled series. But then she was writing books under Noelle Adams, which is her like contemporary. And these are like dystopian books. So this series takes place after an asteroid hit Earth. And it's like 5 years later and people can finally come outside. But now, you know, humanity's barely hanging on. And so we're getting to meet people who had different experiences because of it. So I actually read Princess just the other day already. Loved it. Gave it 5 stars. But I'd already made this list. And this book is coming in July. So very excited. There's going to be another one in August and another one in December. So there'll be 4 books in the Kindled series. I'm like, love it. Love it. Throne of the Horde King by Zoe Draven. See, this is one that I just found out about Instagram because Zoe Draven doesn't even have a cover for this book yet. And this is coming the 15th of July. Zoe Draven, it's like impossible to follow her anywhere. She's someone who really plays things close to the vest. But one of my like mutuals on Instagram, she is like tight with a bunch of authors because she helps do like behind the scenes work, and she is like a PA for an author. And so she was reading an arc of this book, and she like put a clip that on her story, and I was like, oh my God, Naomi, tell me when this book is coming. And she's like, it's coming in July. So I was like, fuck no. I love the Horde King series so much. It makes me so happy. And the 6th and final book is coming in July. Bright Like Wildfire by Juliet Cross. Juliet is one of my dear friends, and I love all of her books. She has some of everything. But this is really her first foray into contemporary. She has one other book that she did with Smarty Pants Romance, which was Parks and Provocation, which came earlier this year. But Bright Like Wildfire is the first book in her Beauville series, which will be a contemporary small town. Will be spicy, will be fun, will be lighthearted. And I actually already have an arc for this one, but I'm very excited to read it. I just was making myself finish some other things first. Then Mercy by Sarah Kate will be coming. That is going to be book 4 in the Salacious Players Club. She has said there will be more in the series, but this is like the 4th and final in what she already had like planned. And it is confirmed. She put out the blurb. This is going to be Maggie and Beau's story. Now, if you've read Praise, you'll know that Beau is the ex-boyfriend and son of the, like, well, not and, but like the ex-boyfriend of Charlotte from the first book and the son of Emerson. And Maggie is the business partner and like best friend of Emerson. And it's a reverse age gap. And he's going to be like a bratty, submissive. And she's going to be learning how to be a dom at the same time he's like learning to be a sub. And I'm here for it. I'm so excited. I'm on the ARC team for that one too. And that's coming in August. I don't think it's coming till. Captured by a Sinner by Michelle Hurd. I think this one is supposed to be Victor and Rosie, but not sure. Victor might actually be the last book. I don't remember. She has it listed who's who. So I only put the 4th one on this list. Other books in the series are coming this year too, but for books that had like multiple ones coming out, I tried to just list like the first one. But I'm very excited to continue this series. This series has gotten better and better for me with each one. I just filmed my June wrap up, and Stolen by the Sinner was one of my 6-star books this year, so very much want more. Mafia Madman by Mila Finelli. This will be book 3 and the first book with Enzo as the hero. So I think Mafia Mistress and Mafia Darling really kind of like hit big this year. Particularly during the Mafia readathon that we did. It was going just bonkers for everybody, which was great. And yeah, I'm very excited to read about Enzo, because if you've read the first 2 books, it's crazy. It's crazy. Between Despair and Hope by Jess Wisecup. I mean, y'all know how much I adore Between Wrath and Mercy, and I also am going to be on the ARC team for this book. Lord help me, I have some great books coming this year, and I can't wait to see what happens next. Between Wrath and Mercy was a lot. That book was a lot, and the cliffhanger we were on, I am ready for the next book. Arcana by Runix. From what I've read, this is supposed to be a gothic historical romance, I think. Based on the blurb, there's not even a full blurb, just based on what it's supposed to be. I really did like Gothicana, or is that what it was called? It wasn't like the best thing I'd ever read, but I thought it was very like angsty and gothic, and that one was contemporary, but it was very interesting. So I'm excited to see what a historical look at that would be. I'm definitely willing to read more Runix for sure. Lunatic by Onley James. This will be book 6 in the Necessary Evil series, so I haven't read book 5 yet. I need to get to that before this one. I wasn't super excited about who book 5 was about, but now I'm just kind of waiting for the audiobook for that one, and then I'll read it. I'm really just holding on until book 7, because book 7 is going to be the couple that I really want to read, but I loved the first 3 books in this series. Book 4 didn't really work for me. Book 5, like I said, I wasn't too excited about. But I love her gay romance and her psychopaths and her serial killer. Like, I love it. So I am still here for this series, even though I'm falling off of it a little bit. Death Adder by Naomi Lucas. This will be book 4 in her Naga's Bride series. She took a little break. She even said at the end of Blue Coral, that was the end of the first arc of her stories, and there's going to be a second arc, so intrigued about that. I can't even pronounce his name, so I won't even try. All right, Return of the Duke by Lorraine Heath. This is going to be the next one in the current series she has going. I don't know anything else about it, but I'm pretty sure it's one of the brothers who like lost. No, it wouldn't be, because it's Return of the Duke. So he wasn't a Duke. But either way, I'm excited. The Do-Over by T.L. Swan. This will be the 4th and final Miles brother book. And this one will be Christopher. And based on the title, I think it's a second chance romance, maybe. Christopher is the other Miles that I have a lot of hope for. I didn't quite get what I wanted from Elliot and Kate. I did not despise that book by any means. But, I mean, no one can really compare with Tristan for me. They just can't. They just can't. But I'm very excited, of course, to read it. I've been stalking NetGalley night and day for an arc of that book. But I think it'll be just a little bit. Like, The Takeover, I got an arc of that book way ahead of time, like way before, was like reasonable in some cases, because this is a Montlake book, which is Amazon's publishing. But I'm ready, y'all. I'm ready for this book. As soon as I can get it in my hands, we'll make it happen. Like, I'm ready. I'm ready. Love on the Brain by Allie Hazelwood. I wasn't the biggest fan of the Love Hypothesis. I know that this took like Book Talk and Bookstagram by storm, but I actually have an arc for this one. Edelweiss just spoiled me and gave me an arc of this one, so I'm ready for it. Like, I'm ready to give it a go. So we'll see. All right, then we have one that I'm anticipating but anxious for, and that is Pen Pal by JT Geisinger. JT has been very much warning us that this one does not have a classic HEA. So what I've decided, because I'm signed up for an arc of this book, and I want to give this book its best chance, because I do love JT's writing, and even if she's not going to write me traditional HEA, it's supposed to be more of like a psychological, romantic fiction, maybe. I don't know. But I'm going to plan that I'm not going to get an HEA. You know, I'm going to remove that from my mind. I'm like, I'm going to read this as a fiction, like suspenseful thriller, and just go for it. And then whatever I get, hopefully I won't be disappointed. But obviously she's following up my favorite series of all time with this standalone about a pen pal in prison. And she said it won't have an ending like we think it will. And so I'm nervous what that means. But also, I'm going to read this book, but we'll see. The Consigliere and the Oracle by Serena Ackroyd. These are coming out like back-to-back weeks like she did with The Dawn and the Lady. This is going to be the next like 2 books in the... what's their name? I forgot their name, but that family that was about, this is about the sister. And I think the sister is going to become a consigliere for someone. So I'm not sure, but this is like another duet that's going to come out before we get the last Filthy Fecker book. So, which we'll get to in a minute here. So those 2 books are coming. Sweet Like Poison by Jay Wolf. This will be the 3rd book in her new adult college trilogy. The first one I didn't love. The second one I really did. This series has had great diversity in it, and it kind of had a little bit of like, you owe me a debt and you're paying it off, but it was really hot. Like Sweet Like, or Bright Like Fire. I can't remember what the second one was, but this one's Sweet Like Poison. I think this one is about Elena, who's been kind of like a villainess in the series. So, The Kraken's Sacrifice by Katie Robert. This will be the next book in her monster banging series that she has. I read everything Katie Robert writes, so we'll be ready for it. The Boxing Baroness by Minerva Spencer, as I've said. So this will be her next book with Kensington, and it's going to be about these like female performers kind of, based on like some true ladies. So I'm ready for it. Cruelly Bitten by Lexi C. Foss. This is actually coming very soon. This is the 6th and final book in the Blood Alliance series, and it's going to be about Cam and his mate. But if you follow this series, you know that some shit went down in the last book, and I'm very scared for what's going to happen for these people. Shipwrecked by Olivia Dade. This series has been up and down for some people. I know it doesn't work for everyone, but I have really enjoyed these. I know the writing style and like the interaction between some of the characters doesn't work for everyone. I get it, but I like it, and I'm very excited for the next book. Or maybe like cautiously optimistic would be better. Then we have Filthy Feck by Serena Ackroyd. This will be the last book in the Filthy Fecker series, and will, I believe, be wrapping up the whole shebang, I think. I don't know. That's what we're told. She could change her mind. The Reluctant Countess by Eloisa James. This is the next book in her like hidden like Wallflower series or whatever. Villain I'd Like to F by the wonderful ladies who've been doing these books. 5 spicy novellas about villains that we'd like to fuck. So there we go. And then last but not least, we have Anastasia by Sophie Lark, which was in my most anticipated books at the beginning of the year and got pushed 6 months to December because of personal reasons and because Sophie just wants to give this book everything that it deserves. And after talking with her many, many hours about this book, and then in person when I was in Utah, I know that she is giving this book everything that she has, and I can't wait to read it. But we got some more time to go, but it'll be here before we know it. It'll be here before we know it. So All right, those are the books that I had on my list. I am sure that I forgot some. I'm sure. I worked on this list for like an hour and a half yesterday and put these like 28 books on here. And I'm sure that I missed something. So feel free to comment those down below, or tell me which ones you're excited for. And yeah, I think that's everything. Thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure you give it a thumbs up and leave me a comment. That really helps me out in the algorithm land. And I'll see you in the next video, y'all. Bye.